Hi friends, and welcome back to Lemon Tree Corner. This week in the studio we are back to the year of bags. So we have a new bag, well not new to me but new to you, bag that we're going to make this week. This week we are going to make the Ethel bag by Swoon. It's just a super cute shape. It doesn't have, does it have a zipper? It does not have a zipper. So it's a pretty easy one to do. It's got like a front zip slip pocket, and I don't think it has an interior pocket. It does have a gusset, so we're back to the gusset, but I think we'll be okay. And this week we are going to be using some Rifle Paper Company fabric. Yes, Rifle Paper Company. So we have this beautiful one for the exterior, and then this one for the interior. They don't quite go together, but you're not going to see them both at the same time anyway, so we're going with it. So no hardware, no zippers. I think I'm going to put a magnetic snap in there if there isn't one, so that's really the only thing we're worried about this week. And that's So those are really the only pieces we have to worry about this week. And we got several of our piggies done last week. Go ahead and look back in my videos and you'll see the piggies. I'll leave a link at the end of the first video we made with the piggies, but we did alter the pattern slightly. So here's the original one, which is kind of small. I just blew it up to 110%, so it's a little bit bigger. The features are more defined, like the legs and the snout are more defined, so I like that better. And we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. They're mid-production, so they're in progress, and then we have 2 that we didn't have enough zipper pulls for, so I have to order those zipper pulls, and those should be in next week, so we can finish these off. We're also continuing on with our sachets. So I've got the fragrance beads going. One I'm going to use my Christmas fabric straps with, and I've got clove, cinnamon, and vanilla in this one. And this one I'm going to use with my tropical print scraps, and this one has the Now Essential Oils Cheer Up Buttercup, which is one of my favorites. Very citrusy and fresh, really lovely. Okay, so yarn update. You guys know that the rainbow shawl is in timeout. I'm back to the Pluie Calm shawl. I'm trying to finish that one before I get excited, because here's the lowdown. So you know how I bought new yarn to go with the Segway shawl. Only problem is, that's not really what I wanted. I wanted this yarn. I wanted this exact yarn set to make this with because it reminds me of the lavender fields we just went through. It's a beautiful gradient. I just talked myself out of it because it was expensive. And this set has like 6 yarns in it, 6 skeins in it, and it was like $65 less. So I went with this set thinking, well, I'm only going to use 5 of these anyway. But I was pretty disappointed. I started balling them up and thinking, this is not really the yarn I wanted to make this with. So they had a Labor Day sale. I went ahead and ordered this yarn, so I'm very excited to get that in and start that definitely for our road trip in October. But now what do I do with all of this yarn, right? I've got 6 skeins of this. So I was looking around, I got totally excited. There's a cardigan, and I was like, ooh, this looks fun. So I printed out the pattern for that. It's called the Chiotolo cardigan. It's really dark here, but it's really pretty. Only problem is, for my size, I pretty much need 8 skeins, and it's fingering weight, and it looks a little above my skill level. It looks very confusing. sock weight yarn. And even if I can get the gauge swatch to work with the DK weight yarn that I have, I just feel like I'm not going to have enough yarn, and I'm going to struggle only to find out that I don't have enough yarn. So kind of disappointed. I'm going to keep that on the back burner for something I can do later on. But in the meantime, and I was like, I don't want another shawl. I'm going to have like 10 shawls eventually, and I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them. I really wanted a sweater. So Expression Fiber Arts has another sweater pattern, but once again, I'm a big girl, so it pretty much takes 8 skeins of yarn for any sweater that I'm going to want to make, even if it's an easier pattern. So I found this one, which is like a shrug with sleeves. So this one looks totally doable. Let me show you. Here's a better picture of it. It's basically a big rectangle, and then you make some seams where the sleeves are, and then you do a little sleeve cuff. That looks doable for me, and it's a pretty easy pattern. It just has a few of these shell rows as a detail. So very excited about that. I have my yarn all balled and ready to go. I just don't know which project to start first. So I'm going to try and be good and finish the Pluie Calm shawl before I start on this, but these both look very springy, so something that I can work towards for the spring, definitely. And I just remembered last week that I have that leftover Christmas yarn from the Christmas blanket that we made last year, and I wanted to do a scarf. So I think I want to do a very blocky, like Harry Potter scarf, or like a sampler scarf with that yarn, maybe a scarf and a hat since it's for Christmas. So I think that would be fun. So I'm gonna think about that in the future, but I have to pick one of these 2 projects to start before we do our road trip in October, just so that I got plenty of stuff to work on. I might start both, so that I have 2 different things to work on. I don't know. It's very confusing, but I'm very excited about this because it is a wearable sweater. I think I could also, I could probably put like one of those frog closures or something on it just to have a closure, because that's what I liked about the cardigan. Had buttons and buttonholes. So lots of fun stuff on the horizon this week as we get all set up, and I hope you come along for the journey with us and enjoy this. This is a pretty easy bag besides the gusset, but I think it's a pretty nice large bag. It's 13 by 10 by 5 deep. So it's a nice gusset, should be easy to do. I don't remember having a problem last time. And we'll just continue on with everything else as we go through the week. So thank you for joining me. Our numbers just keep going up. So looking on the back side of YouTube, it tells me who's subscribed and who isn't. So about a third of you who watch my videos are subscribed, which thank you very much. We're past 460 now. So when we get to 500, I'm going to do a special bag giveaway. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already subscribed and you've watched one or more of my videos, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button. It really does help a lot for getting my numbers up. When we get to 500, I can do a poll, like something like this. I can put like 2 or 3 projects up there. Which one should I start? That kind of thing, so you have a little bit more engagement, or I have a little bit more engagement with you on the channel, and I can do things like that. So that would be great to give you little updates and polls and things like that. So we've got a lot to do this week. So go ahead, grab yourself a water or make yourself a cozy beverage, curl up on the couch with your kitties or your doggies or your rabbit or whatever you have, and let's make this bag.
Lost again, going back around, dreaming of a time when I get things right. Lost in the shadows of a million stars. Shouldn't they enlighten my near and far? Shouldn't they at all just tell me where you are? Send a prayer if I'm out of luck. Send a little love and I'll make it back. Send me a letter and a bottle of wine, telling me I will be fine. Baby, I'm stuck with a halfway heart. Slip away if I come too far. Pick me up when I'm in pieces.
Okay, it's that time. So this week we're doing the Swoon Ethel Tote. It's pretty nice and roomy. It's 13 by 10 by 5. We are going to have some foam in here for the outside to be stable. My fabrics don't quite go with each other, but we're going to have one totally in the inside and one totally on the outside. We've got a slip pocket on the outside and on the inside. I think what I might do is make both sides of the slip pocket out of this. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so we are going to keep track of our time. The first one of these that I made for my niece's birthday. So I don't remember keeping track of time or anything. I just remember that it was like a nice, simple pattern to do because it's just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces sewn together. So there's a bottom panel that connects to the gusset panels, and there's no hardware at all in this bag. There's no zippers. We are going to add a magnetic snap because I just like to have some sort of closure for the top of the bag, and I don't necessarily want to do a recessed zipper. So fairly easy to get us back into things. So we're going to do that. We have another pattern on the fold. So you know me, I like to double those up. So I'm going to print that out. This really is just this long because we are going to attach it to the bottom like that. So these pieces are the right size. We also have some stabilizer. We're going to put a little piece of Peltex in the bottom in addition to our foam. And I think what we did last time is we did the Peltex, we attached the Peltex to the lining because once you put the foam on the exterior, it's harder to attach the Peltex. So I re-familiarized myself with the pattern by watching a tutorial the other day. So I will put that tutorial down below. Although if you've made a bag or two, I feel like this is a really easy pattern to do. The only difficult part about it is the gusset. So if you're comfortable with gussets, it's also like a really nice wide gusset. So I don't think you're going to have too many problems with that. So let's get started. Okay, this fabric's kind of directional. You can see the strawberries here. So it's kind of going this way. So I'm going to put my pieces this way. In the tutorial video, she was talking about fussy cutting so that your pocket lined up perfectly. And I really like that idea. So I'm gonna pay attention to where this gets cut. So that when I lay it down, I've got pretty much exactly the same bottom. And then hopefully when I sew it together, I can use the same thing. So hopefully I can get both pieces out of this piece, and then we will have extra which we could use for another bag. I think the next set of scraps that I have I'm going to use for the clematis wristlet. We haven't made that one in a while. I have a lot of the pouches at this point, so I think it would be nice to use that next. And we're not going to have enough room for both of these. So I'm going to pick a place on the pattern that I can kind of line up again later. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to pick the bottom of this leaf here, and that's going to be the place that we use so that when we make our pocket we can line it up perfectly, and then we won't have to worry about that for the lining. Also have the handles we need to cut, and I believe the handles were kind of short last time I made those, so handles 4 by 20. I think I'm going to make that 28. Nice and tall. I can always cut that down if I need to, but they're sewn in, so you're going to lose at least like a ½ an inch off of that anyway. So I feel like it's worth making those a little longer. Okay, so it's that one next to the blue flower. And yeah, that's not going to be good enough. Okay, so we're going to have to go down here. We're going to have to go down there. Okay. So I'm going to cut a little below that just to be safe, which means we're going to be using quite a bit here. I also need the handles, so I'm thinking of getting that out of this, except then I'm worried about the side panels because I could cut part of this for the side panels.
You got a smile that
And this is for the, let's do that.
you make it shine, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound, it's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need.
Okay, we are all prepped and ready to go with all of our stuff. So I've got our handles, which were probably way too long. I could have made them 24 inches. I think would have been plenty, but we're just sewing the ends into the actual bag, so we can always cut that off. So we'll test that before we finish that. We've got all of our foam attached, and we can go ahead and sew these guys on. And we're gonna make our slip pockets, all that fun stuff. We're gonna sew this at a ½ an inch seam allowance. So, I mean, might as well take you to the sewing machine, because the majority of this stuff we're gonna do at the sewing machine proper. So. Now we've got the foam on here, so we're going to do our 2 slip pockets. So we're going to sew them 1/4 inch. We're just going to follow that curve up at the top. One of the things I like about Swoon is all these curves and everything. It just makes the visual interest of their bags is just really cool. So we're going to sew that together. We're going to sew those on, and then same thing down here. We've got our slip pocket. Now I'm going to attach the slip pocket in the lining before we figure out where our magnetic snap is going, because I don't know how far up this is going to go. So I want to make sure I look at the seam allowance for the top and also what this is going to look like, so that when we sew all these together, we're not, you know, the magnetic snap has plenty of room at the bottom. We put our Peltex on the bottom of our lining panel, and they had us cut this smaller. So I'm going to do the same thing, oops, right sides together. Going to do the same thing here. So basically, now that all our prep is done, the sewing should go relatively fast. I'm going to sew it from this other direction so I can avoid the Peltex. And I think we're just sewing the lining at a 1/2 inch too. Repeat with the lining. Yep. Okay. So let's go to the sewing machine and start putting this bag together. You'll see this bag goes like super fast. It took me like 2.5 hours to prep everything, cut everything, attach all the foam and interfacing, and I think the bag's gonna take less than that to make, so that's good.
I believe 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I look at you and know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heartbeat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. Can't you see? I want you. I believe 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I don't need another love. Yeah. We do this every day. We do this love for life. You got a smile that makes the sun rise.
Hey, I wanted to give you an update on the crochet project. So we have cast it on. I don't know if you cast on things in crochet. We are making the Wonder sweater. So it's basically like a big rectangle, and then we're gonna sew the sides together for the arms. So let me see if I can give you a better picture here. Here's a better picture. So this is what it looks like. It's like a big rectangle, and then we're gonna pull together the ends to be armholes. So I'm just getting started on this. The video doesn't go into that much detail. I really wish she would do more of a tutorial video. She basically shows you how to start and then shows you like whatever special stitch there is in the pattern. But I kind of wish that she would go over kind of the schematics of the whole thing, the bigger picture, but that's not part of it. So, you know me, we like to do things unconventionally. So, looking for a pattern to use this yarn with, I looked at several different sweater patterns, and of course they're all made for fingering weight yarn. So the problem with this one is, once again, it's fingering weight yarn, and what I have is DK weight yarn. So I decided to do a gauge swatch, and I did a gauge swatch with a G hook, and it was just a little bit larger than the gauge swatch needed to be, which is good though, because I'm a big girl and this says one size fits all, but you know it's not gonna fit me if I make it the way she makes it. So I went up to H, which is actually the hook she uses in the pattern for the fingering weight yarn, and it's nice and bigger. So it's supposed to be like a 4-inch gauge swatch. I got like a 4.25, and with the H hook, I think I got a 5.25, so nice and wider than the original pattern is, which is going to be good for me as far as the wearability. But looking at the pattern now, so I've done the starter rows, which were some setup half double crochet rows, and then we have the shells pattern. So let me get that picture back again for you. So basically in the pattern, it's mostly half double crochets in the middle here, but we have this detail at the top and the bottom. So you can see that detail at the top and the bottom of these shell stitches. So what I was going to do is use the tan yarn for the edge of the, you know, the border of the shell stitches. Use the dark green for the shell stitches. I do have 2 skeins of dark green. I'm going to try and do it with 1, but we're going through it pretty fast already. And I think there's 2 sets of shell stitches before we get to the main body. And then I've got all the purple colors. So I've got these 3 purple colors to use. This one's kind of the bridge that has the green and the purple. And I'll probably start with darkest to lightest. So we'll probably go like that. And we're going bottom up right now. So excited to get this project started. And I think my trick is going to work as far as the size goes. Only problem is that because she used fingering weight yarn with the same hook size I'm using now, the shell stitches were much more defined. So you definitely had a lacier feel. You can't really see it here, but it's a lacier feel. It doesn't look as tight as mine is turning out. Now I don't want to go up a hook size again because then it's going to be huge. So I think using this hook size is the correct one for what we need, but you can see it's just very dense. It's not very lacy, which I think is going to work out fine because I do want it to be a sweater that I can wear. So I don't want a bunch of holes in my sweater. You know, I want it to actually feel like a sweater. So I think we're off to a good start here. The hardest part was counting the 204 stitches for the foundation. I used stitch markers every 50 to get me there, and then I had to like count the first few rows to make sure I had the right number of stitches. I didn't want to like start it all over again and figure that out later. So I feel really good about it. We're on like row 8 or 9 right now. So we've got a few more rows of this shell stitch, and you know, she has 2 sets of shell stitches here. So I'm basically going to be doing the tan, the green shell stitch, the tan, the green, and then starting with the purple. So that'll be good, and just waiting for the other yarn to show up in the mail. So I'll share that with you when that comes. And then we're going to put them together. My favorite part. The gusset. Okay, so I think we're going to sew this with the gusset up, which is usually how we do that. The nice thing is this is a nice wide pattern piece, so I don't think we're going to have a lot of problems. We are going to go ahead and secure the top first. So we make sure the top lines up. That wasn't bad at all. Are we trimming these down eventually? Yeah, we're gonna trim these down eventually. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other panel. The other panel is gonna be a little thicker because we have that pocket. So it's gonna be a bit of a challenge. Did I do that wrong? Oh, I did it wrong. Oh no, I did it wrong. Oh, it was all going too well. Oh my God, I just sewed it. Oh, and I double stitched it. Oh man. Want want. Okay, gonna have to seam rip this and do it over again. I don't know how I did that. Wasn't paying attention to which side of the bag was where. I don't even know if I can get that back in again. Maybe I'm just better off unpicking it from this side. Okay, before we go any further, I'm gonna write down my time because I don't want to include the unpicking time here in my time. Okay, well, as some of you can imagine, I cut down this seam already. So we don't have our 1/2 inch seam. So I did a 1/4 inch seam, which means it's going to be a little shorter than it should be. And apparently this folded over as it was being sewn, but that's okay. So we are at the point where we are going to birth again. So open this up, get this guy through, and I'm glad we put the magnetic snap a little lower down. I didn't know I was thinking ahead there, but I was. So our magnetic snap should have plenty of clearance, even though I had to make that top seam a little further in than it was supposed to be. Yeah, I think that's good. So I'm going to press this under and top stitch, and then we'll sew up the hole. I'm going to start my timer again because that took me a 1/2 an hour. So it took me a 1/2 an hour to unpick all the stitches, pull out all the threads, and redo that seam. So 1/2 an hour mistake. You'll see our snap is a little high up now, but it's definitely within the realm. So I'm really glad that we put that a 1/2 an inch further in to be safe. So I think it's all good. Just top stitch and come back. And we're done. So I gave it a press. It probably needs another one. And then obviously these corners, I'm probably going to go ahead and put the clips on them for a day, just to really define these edges, make it nice and crisp. But you can see it's a totally cute bag. Look at that little swoop-de-swoop and then the top swoop. And I am super glad that I put the magnetic snap a little further in than I was going to, because yeah, I would like it a little further down than that, but it would have been if I hadn't messed up the top. But there's the inside with our slip pocket and our slip pocket on the outside. Super, super cute. Okay, and did not take that long either. It's only 4:15. Have some ice cream, watch my Sunday YouTubers, and have some fun here. And work on my crocheting for the rest of the night. So obviously a lot easier to make one bag than 20 bags. So what have we got here? 90 plus 50 plus 50 plus 90 plus 15 is 295 divided by 60 is 491. So that's not bad at all. I think I am going to price it the same as the hobo, the Finch hobo, just because they're very similar bags. But I really like the Rifle Paper Company fabric for this, because like the dot dot dash bag, if I'm doing it all in one fabric, it's nice to have this fabric. Now we did use almost the entire yard of the exterior. We have a little bit of interior fabric left over that we can use for something else, but you know, I have those half yard pieces of the Rifle Paper Company fabric. That's not gonna work for this. I'm definitely gonna need a full yard of fabric for this, but we can go through our stash and pick out some other really cute florals that we can use that would really stand out. I mean, this is like a standout bag for these designs. That's it for this week, friends. I'm glad you came and joined me, and we got a new bag done, which was fun to get back into one bag. A lot easier to just do one bag, so let's take a look at it. We've got this super cute and swooshy Swoon Ethel bag. So you'll see I made the straps 28 inches, and you'll see that it just comes under, you know, that much room under my underarm. So I'm very glad that I added the length, because 20 inches would have been like a crook of your arm bag. It wouldn't have gone over your shoulder. We did have the awful mistake, which I can't believe I made, and I had already trimmed the top. So I had trimmed the seam allowance, which made it harder to sew. I had to sew it down a little bit further. And so our magnetic snap that I had given plenty of room to is now closer to the top than I would like, but still plenty of room, so that's good. We've got our outside slip pockets, perfect for your phone or your keys. And it's just such a cute bag. I love the swooshes of the Swoon patterns, and I love the fact that it just showcases this beautiful Rifle Paper Company fabric. So yay, very excited to have that done. And we started our crochet project. Our first wearable, well, not really. It's not really like a fitted sweater or anything, but it will become a sweater. So hopefully I'll give you an update on that next week. We'll see how far I get. And still waiting for the other yarn, so I'm glad I jumped into this, because I was like, I'm just gonna crank this out. I've been working on it every night, feeling invigorated and happy to have something I'm excited about on the hook. The other one, I just kind of lost interest. I will get back into it, I swear, but feeling like, even though this is kind of lavenders and greens, feels kind of spring, but as I'm putting it together, it does kind of have that dark and moody. So it might be great for me to wear in the fall at work, especially if my office is as air conditioned as it has been over the summer. I could really use something to wear in the office. And yeah, I think that's it. The one thing that I want to try and do next year, especially since our Advent minis are going to be autumn themed, I would love to get a pattern for making like a leaf garland, like a crocheted leaf garland. So maybe I can use some of that yarn to do that. I was putting up all the fall decorations and realizing I don't have anything crocheted. And I have seen like crocheted leaves and pumpkins, like a little garland of 3 or 4 different designs that you can have. And I do have a mitten garland for Christmas that I love putting up. I didn't make it myself, but it's a crochet garland. So I think that would be a cool thing to make with those. I was also thinking fingerless gloves. I was also thinking I could do fingerless gloves with the rainbow minis. So maybe if I look for maybe I will get the perfect orange mini in our Christmas box, and I can set that aside for with the rainbow minis and make some fingerless gloves. So I haven't made those before either. So fun things to come, and I think, as you'll see, I got excited. Next week I'm gonna have an ooh shiny moment. So next week, join me as I make my own autumn themed purse, and we'll make something for my mom as well. So we'll just take a little break, make 2 interesting things, and then get back into the more adventurous bags. So thank you for joining me this week. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and hope to see you back here again next week. Love you. Bye.
Sing to me if I lose my voice. Said I better lose my